Oh, hey, I'm live. It's the Nazarite bringing you Hebrew lore from days of yore. Forgive the mess. I haven't broadcasted in English since the day after we arrived back here in Israel. A day after we arrived in Israel, I did my regular broadcast, this time from Israel, and during that broadcast, I opened up the stream for the first time ever. I opened up the stream, I shared the link. And someone who I didn't know, who was pretending to be someone that I did know, used that open invite into the stream and broadcasted for, just a few seconds, an adult image. When I woke up the following morning, the stream continued. I kicked that person out. The stream continued. And in the morning, I found my channel was terminated. And I applied several times to YouTube to no avail. I started a channel in Hebrew. I'll put the link in the description at some point. So I want to do both simultaneously, if I can. And it's going to be a challenge, but I'd like to make it work. After my channel was terminated, I thought I should do it in Hebrew. I'm back in Israel. What's done is done. I can't get the channel back. Might as well start something in Hebrew. To be very honest and very frank, it's only been, a month? A few broadcasts altogether, and it's been so hectic with the move back to Israel from the Netherlands. I didn't get too many videos in. Within the videos I did have, not too many broadcasts, and it's difficult. It's difficult, it's humbling, it's dispiriting, as I told someone recently, to go from this vibrant and live Q&A, community where people are sharing things and people are conversing and long threads discussing faith, spirituality, religion, scripture, and so on, what this channel is all about. And so after a month or so of trying to do it in Hebrew, I decided, no, I need to go back to English. I want to go back to English. And then I thought, am I doing it just because I miss the subs and the engagement? Right, because I didn't even have, I had like 850 subs, but it was such a lively community. Or am I doing it for egocentric reasons? Am I doing it, hey, Lisa, good to see your name again here on an English, speaking channel, as it were, where you can understand what's going on. And Karen Organ Freebird is here. Good to see you too. Ah, So you see, this type of thing, when I see Lisa Freyne, there's a kind of history there. And when I see Karen, who I spoke with and had a dialogue with, obviously there's history there. And I want to continue doing it in Hebrew. But English is something that I missed doing it literally, right? I missed doing it in English, and I missed the community. So I want to restart it, and I figured I'll do it tonight. And maybe after this broadcast, I'll do another short one in Hebrew. I don't know, but I wanted to do this, and I don't think I'm doing it for the wrong reasons. And if I'm doing it for the wrong reasons, well, let that play out. It's worth the risk. I think it's worth the risk, even though we're talking about things having to do with pride and ego and me. There's something about this vow, this channel, in my estimation and in my experience, that transcends, it just transcends. And I can't let what I had over there completely go. Now, my idea was, and it still holds, which is that I want it, just as I grew it organically, I want any rediscovery of it to be organic. In other words, I'm Hebrew Nazarite on more than YouTube. I don't engage much on other social platforms, but I am kind of there. And whoever wants to find me could find me. I'm the only one, as far as I know, with the name and the tree, right, branded. It wouldn't be difficult. And people did reach out on Facebook, and people did reach out through, right, on Instagram. I think there were a few, and I deeply appreciate those who reached out and those who offered condolences and comfort, and those who were asking when I'll go back to doing it in English. It's nice to do it again in English. Now, there's no way, I think, for me to bring that old channel back. And there's no reason not to continue in Hebrew, but I still want to do this. I really do want to do this. So, right, so there are 3 people online right now. What a blessing. What a blessing. I don't take it for granted. It's such an amazing thing that I can once again go live and have people watching. It's an amazing thing to me. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this week's Torah portion, right? About Lech Lecha. Just, because I want it to be also about Torah. I want it to be about, sure, it's me talking about the channel and whatever, but let's just dive into it. Let's dive into it. Well, you know what? Before Lech Lecha, before the third portion of Bereshit, of Genesis, I'll talk a bit about, about the high holidays and how that went. Just a few words. It's a time, right? Sukkot, right? The Feast of Booths, of Tabernacles, right? Of Sukkot ended just, what is it today? So it's like a week and a half ago. It was a really wonderful landing back here in Israel, coming right into the Hebrew holidays. The high holidays of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and the more joyous, if you will, or differently joyous holiday of Sukkot and of the 8th day of assembly, Shmini Atzeret. And now comes a time with no holidays for a long while. There are dates which people can observe, but not national holidays until Hanukkah. Hanukkah is in dispute. Those who don't keep rabbinic tradition do not celebrate Hanukkah, and there is no mention of Hanukkah in the Bible. There is of Purim, right, with the Queen of Esther and the Scroll of Esther. There is no mention of Hanukkah. That was Second Temple. That was the external books, right? That didn't make it into the Bible for this or that reason. The books of Maccabees, 1 and 2 for sure, really talk about that and the miracle of Hanukkah and what went on there. Until Hanukkah, there are no more holidays. It's a time where, from this packed month of, well, ups and downs, ebbs and flows, comings and goings, or for some, just a graph pointing straight up, at these amazing holidays and the divine revelation which they can manifest through us, our prayers, the rituals, what's left of them, personal ones and national ones, in and out of synagogues. It's a whole roller coaster for me, I think, a lot. And so now we're entering a time when there are no holidays, and it's time to get back to work, and it's time to get back to a routine. I would want this routine very much to be me going back to broadcasting in English, because I felt like I couldn't quite get a routine going. Now, again, it was holiday season and whatnot, but it was getting to me. The fact that it's very late and I don't have the motivation to broadcast. I want to have it, and I think I can reignite that motivation when I go back to this. I mean, look, there are people here in the comments, in the chat section, people I know, people who followed me through this termination and reestablishment of the Hebrew one, the English one. I thank you. I thank you deeply. It's no small thing. And whether or not I do it for reasons of, ego and whatnot, time will tell. But I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate the engagement. So let's see. Little Andre is here. Hello, little Andre. Lisa says, I got to inform a gentleman yesterday about the Christian holidays and how they aren't biblical. Because he asked. Yes, oh, good, okay, you sure. Aren't biblical. No, they are biblical in the sense of, the Lord says throughout the 5 books of Moses, you need to eradicate the very memory of certain practices, right? The Baal, the Asherah, all the different pagan gods, all the different that were going on in the land of Canaan at the time. And so don't uproot the trees, destroy the stones, all of that, and instill other things in their place. Because many of these pagan holidays also had the agricultural sort of cyclic feel to them, right? They were based on, if I'm not mistaken, nature, the elements and all of that. These pagans weren't fools. Many of them knew what they were doing quite well. To this day, right? It's not like the people who serve the Hebrew God have any kind of monopoly on wisdom. But it was what the Israelites were told to do. You get there, you clean them out, you slaughter them all, you ruin all of their temples, their places of worship, and you instill the divine Hebrew name in this land that was promised to your forefathers. And so uprooting certain things and planting other things in their stead where they were has this biblical feel to it. And maybe in that sense, it's biblical. It's not mandated in the Bible. It's biblical conceptually, where we'll take these pagan holidays and we will turn them into Christian ones, whether it's the date, the ritual, the practice, the artifacts, certain things I think were changed, taken from right pagan dates and things, and decided to connect it to the church, to whatever it was, I don't know. But they are not mandated by the Bible, right? On all of those, yeah, right. Haven't even subscribed yet, says little Andre. Look at you, quick on the draw you are. Lisa said, I had to leave before I could talk about the Jewish faith. Okay, well, if the opportunity will present itself and you have somebody who wants to know, for sure, make it happen. Hey, I know you, says my father. Shalom alecha, avi mori. Hello, my father, my master, my elder, supreme Levite, Mr. Ira Hurwitz. Little Andre says, just gave it a like, though. Well, that's awesome. Thank you for the like. I appreciate it. There are 3 of them. Look at that. Hey, Karen, how are you? So, Oregon Freebird. Oh, that was a fun dialogue we had. All right, now, I do have a wonderful idea for the upcoming dialogue. I'm not sure when, but really, really soon. I want to strike the hammer while the iron's hot. And little Andre, in his glorious wisdom, introduced me to a female Nazarite by the name of Sarah Eisenman. I'll put her later in the description as well, a link. And I want to talk to her and her husband. They are both Essenes. They are Essene Hebrews, and with a connection to the rabbinic faith, to the Orthodox faith, right? A reverence for it, right? An understanding, a respect for it, but they don't. They are not Orthodox, and I really, really want to have a dialogue with them. Now, I still have not been introduced to or met or otherwise engaged with an Orthodox Jewish woman who's a Nazarite. There are a couple which little Andre introduced me to over the last few weeks when I've been away, as it were. And this one, Sarah, she seems to be not to be compared to the other ones which he introduced me to, but she seems to be uh, there's a vibe there that I would want to explore further. Let's put it that way. With her and her husband and the life they lead, the way of the Essenes, right? The way, much like the Tao. It's that thing which cannot fully be articulated, and any name that you will give it is diminishing it. It's like the essence of God, right? As a revelation, where it says in Tehillim, "Ulecha dumiyat tehillah," to you, silence is praise. And Eliyahu, when he was standing at the cave, right? There was wind, there was fire, there was the earth quaked, and then still silence. And then he covers his face. That's revelation. Silence. All right, let's see. More watchers, and I think subscribers here too. More watchers here. Yeah, there are more watchers here because it's in English, and that's a universal language, or universal. It's global. I won't be a chatterbox tonight, I promise. Mr. Chatterbox, you are a big disgrace. Oh, so I want to talk a little bit about Lech Lecha, and then I am going to skadooch. Lech Lecha, go to yourself. Abraham is 75 when he leaves his father's home. Terach dies in Haran, his father dies. And after his father is dead, there's a divine revelation which calls to Abraham and says, go to yourself. Lech Lecha. Lech, go for yourself, go to yourself. It's not quite lech elecha, go towards yourself, but it is. Go towards your future, go towards your destiny, right? Lech lecha. It is a biblical way of saying it, and it's also a very unique way of saying it. This idea of listening to the divine revelation, which is calling you to be your authentic self. You had your time in your father's house, whatever time it was, and now it's time to move on to a land that I will show you. It's a leap of faith, leaving your father's house, going your own way. It's a leap of faith. Your father, in many ways, symbolizes that masculine divine revelation. And right, psychology and all that, I know nothing of it, but it's what it is. That's part of why it's in the Ten Commandments, and it's part of why it's that border, if I'm not mistaken, right? It's the 5th one. After the all right between the five which pertain to a man and his God, and five that pertain to a man and his fellow man, there is the honor thy mother and thy father. They are the great bridge of life. Three partners, says the Gemara, in creating a child. There is in conceiving, let's say. There is the Almighty, there's the Mother, there's the Father, and then the Gemara goes on to say what each one contributes. But this idea of the Father being right, and I'm sure if Christians with God the Father and all that, get out of your Father's house. You took what you can. Go, be yourself. And the first thing that Avram encounters is hardship with famine and with what he goes through in Egypt, for better or worse. It doesn't sound pleasant. And his faith is unshaken, right? Through war with 4 kings against 5 and a great battle, and he kicks some ass. And then he becomes Avraham. Then he's worthy of, right, after the covenant between the parts, there's that covenant of circumcision in the flesh. You'll always be imperfect. Keep going. That makes you perfect. Let's see. My father says, you could have stayed here till age 75. You chose to leave. Yes, I did, Father. I could have stayed till 75. Well, why didn't I? There's a good question. I guess I wanted to do my own thing. Dr. Jordan Peterson, I recently heard something that he said, and I think he based it on something that Jung said, and he said something along the lines of, if by the time you're in your mid-20s or 30s, you still value your parents' opinion more than the average Joe or Joette, then you have some growing up to do. So, staying there till I'm 75, I'm still very much connected to you, my father. But there's David Data, right, who wrote The Way of the Superior Man. He said, live as if your father is dead. So I'd like to do that. I'd like to have that total disconnect. And if I haven't yet, I don't know if there's any kind of, a litmus test? And I don't need one. I like the connections we do have, Father. And I didn't have to stay until 75. All right, I'm gonna say goodbye. I'm gonna say goodnight. This has been really, really lovely. I've returned to Israel. I've returned to Zion. I returned to my old apartment, our old apartment. And right now it's very messy, and I'll find other places. But like I said, when I left, before, I didn't know I'm going to leave, but when I left off in my old channel, I said, I can't wait to get to 1,000 subscribers, not because of the sub count, but because then I'll be able to use this thing and broadcast live from Jerusalem. That is still part of my goal. I was called in different ways to create this YouTube channel, and I still feel that to be the case, be it in Hebrew, be it in English. I must speak. And if it wasn't this, it was with my, poetry and screenwriting, which I've been neglecting ever since I moved to Holland. Either way, I must speak. It's something I feel compelled to do, maybe sometimes to my detriment. And it's so lovely to have people here, you guys, you gals out there, people who are old subs, people who are new subs. Khalid is here! Wow, look at that! Shalom, love from Manchester, England. Khalid, good to see you. I think I was speaking with you, Khalid, and with a Sikh that night. We had a wonderful discussion. I think that it was you. I am in Israel. I'm in Jerusalem right now, Khalid. It's good to see your name again here in the broadcasting in English. So I said, you know what? I didn't know that my channel would be terminated. I finished that broadcast thinking, okay, I'll be back in a couple of days. But that was a good broadcast. That's what I thought to myself. Never before, because I opened up the stream at the time. So I had people who were brand new who were coming on the camera. Now that's what caused the downfall of the channel because of what happened. But I think it was you, Khalid, who was who was with me on camera with another guy who was a Sikh. We had such a lovely discussion. And so if that was destined to be the last one of the old channel, I'm glad that's how it ended. It ended on a high note as far as I'm concerned, with such a wonderful broadcast that I think you were a part of at the time. All right, this has been lovely. I'm going to say goodbye. I look forward to picking up where I left off, still continuing to do the channel in Hebrew. I'll put the link in the description, So wait, Little Andre says, I wanted to say some things, but I won't tonight. I'll be boring as people want me to be. Hey, you know what? In the old channel, you were very vocal. I know sometimes you doubt that people want to hear what you have to say, but I don't erase messages. And these, I hope, are here to stay, these chats, because I learned my lesson. I'm going to take precautions. I won't open up the stream again. If I do ever open up the stream again, I'll have to, what's the word I'm looking for? I'll have to sift through, no, not sift, whatever it is. So, good night. It's good to be back from Israel, from Jerusalem. I'll see you, wait, it's now Wednesday. I'll see you Friday, God willing. God bless.